Now at 8 o'clock, what witnesses tell us they saw in the moments before an officer-involved shooting in Brockton.
Fighting for their future, students hoping to get answers after learning that Mount Ida College is closing.
And air attack, a Syrian airbase hit by missiles overnight. Why there is confusion over who ordered the strikes just hours after a suspected chemical attack.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
Good Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amaka Ubaka.
And I'm Jennifer Egan. We'll have all of your top stories in just a moment. But first, we do want to get a check of the forecast this morning, a live look outside. And it looks like the sun is shining. It was a beautiful sunrise, but it's still a little bit cold out there for my taste.
Yeah, same here. It's definitely cold out there, Ren. I know you were saying, hopefully, though, that the temperatures are going to climb later this week.
They are, Amaka. We're talking seasonable temperatures by Wednesday, back into the mid-50s, and even above average by Thursday into Saturday. So a nice break from the cool conditions. And yes, it is chilly right now. Very cold start to your work week, but we've got that sunshine firmly in place throughout the day. Right now, we're at 31 in Boston, 25 in Worcester. Our average highs are in the upper 30s, 39. Really, currently our average low, in Boston. And you can see we're about 10 degrees short of that this morning. We're also quite blustery, gusts up to about 30 miles per hour currently in Worcester. And this is making it feel like we're in the low 20s and even upper teens. So it feels like 19 currently in Boston, 12 in Worcester. Today is not the day to forget the gloves and the hat because it, again, is definitely a cold start. By the afternoon, though, winds die down and we're looking at plenty of sunshine with temperatures in the mid-40s.
All right, we want to get a check of the roads on this Monday morning. Here's Carrie Corrado. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Amaka. We've had better days on the roadways, that's for sure. Heavy delays on the Tobin Bridge. Check this out. If you look closely, you can tell those cars are still moving, but it's going to be a very tough commute for you. And if we take a look at the expressway, also very painful if you're headed that way into the city, bumper to bumper, slow moving as you make your way there. On the maps, it seems like we have a little bit of issue here. This is not all green. We're also seeing a ton of red on the expressway, even down by the split. And if we head over into the Bill Ricca area, we have an accident. This is Route 3 southbound at Treble Cove Road. And then in the Andover area, we also have a few other accidents. We have an accident on 495 south at exit 41. This is Route 28. And then we also have another accident at 495 north at exit 40. That's Route 93. So there are some trouble spots in the area. If we take a look at drive times now, 33 minutes on the expressway, only 16 minutes on the Pike. That's good news. 32 minutes on 93, 128 to the Zacom Bridge. So these are on the higher side. If you're taking the T this morning, all of the lines are on time.
All right, Carrie, thank you. And right now, a shooting involving police under investigation in Brockton. One man rushed to the hospital after reports of several shots fired last night. And this was just the latest incident in a recent string of violence in that area. 7's Nicole Oliverio is live in Brockton this morning with the details. Nicole.
It's still unclear exactly what happened in the moments before officers opened fire, but many of the neighbors and witnesses we spoke with say that they watched the entire incident happen right from their apartment window.
It was a weekend filled with violence in Brockton. Last night, police say officers were forced to shoot a man outside of this apartment complex where evidence markers line the street.
I gotta look out that window. I sleep right there.
Neighbor Judith Candelora says she watched the shooting happen from her window. She says she knows the man who police shot very well and claims he was holding a knife.
I was sitting right there at my window trying to tell him to put the knife down. There was plenty of other people in this building that watched it. They were trying to tell him to put it down.
Police say the suspect involved was taken to the hospital, but his condition is unknown. It was one of 2 violent incidents in the city in more than 24 hours' time. Late Saturday night, in an unrelated shooting, police say a 24-year-old man was killed. It happened along Woodland Avenue. Neighbors tell us they heard nearly a dozen gunshots. Investigators say the victim might have been in a car at the time of the shooting. People who live in Brockton say what happened this weekend is sad, but for at least one man, not surprising.
When I was younger and I saw this stuff, it would make me nervous, but now it's just like, oh, it's Thursday or Sunday. It's just a typical thing.
Police still haven't made any arrests in that fatal shooting from Saturday night, and we still don't know the condition of the man who was hit by officers. That's latest live in Brockton. Nicole Oliverio, 7 News Today in New England.
A house in Gloucester going up in flames, and now investigators are trying to figure out what sparked it. The fire broke out in the home on Penny Lane. Firefighters had to use a half-mile hose line and additional manpower because there were no fire hydrants near the area. The home was under construction at the time. One firefighter was hurt when a piece of burning debris fell onto his neck. The deputy chief says that the home is a total loss. And new this morning, police in Rochester, New Hampshire are looking for a man who robbed a Dunkin' Donuts. Police say that he walked into the store and told the cashier that he had a gun. No weapon was ever shown, but the robber took off with the cash. He's described as 6 feet tall, and he's wearing black clothing and white sneakers. You see him right there in the surveillance picture. Anyone with information is asked to call police. And an SUV crashes into a creek along Route 30 in Weston. The incident had traffic detoured from Newton to Ware Street on Sunday. Now, the vehicle was safely removed and only minor injuries were reported.
Now to the crisis in Syria. Dramatic video of what Syrian state media is calling an overnight missile attack at an airbase, claiming that more than a dozen people were killed in that attack. Initially, they blamed the United States for the strikes, but the latest reports say Israel is responsible. This coming after a suspected chemical attack that's said to have left dozens dead. We want to get to 7's Matt Rascone, who's live in the control room now with the very latest. Matt.
Jen, a big question now is how will President Trump respond? It was just last week he said he wanted U.S. troops out of Syria, but that was before an apparent chemical attack in the country killed more than 40 men, women, and children. Apparent airstrikes lighting up the sky, hitting a Syrian airbase where more than a dozen people were killed. The strikes come after a suspected chemical attack over the weekend in the rebel-held city of Douma, outside Damascus. Dozens are dead, hundreds more, including children, left choking, gasping for air, and writhing in pain. President Trump is holding Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad and his allies responsible, writing in a tweet, "Many dead, including women and children, in mindless chemical attack in Syria." President Putin, Russia, and Iran are responsible for backing Animal Assad. Big price to pay. White House Homeland Security and Counterterrorism Advisor Tom Bossert said the president is looking at all options.
I wouldn't take anything off the table. These are horrible photos. We're looking into the attack at this point.
If he doesn't follow through and live up to that tweet, he's going to look weak in the eyes of Russia and Iran. So this is a defining moment, Mr. President. You need to follow through with that tweet, show a resolve that Obama never did to get this right.
But the president's condemnation comes just days after announcing American troops would leave the war-torn country, quote, very soon. It's a decision Senator John McCain, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, claims emboldened al-Assad. In a statement, McCain said the president responded decisively when Assad used chemical weapons last year. He should do so again and demonstrate that Assad will pay a price for his war crimes.
The United States, the international community, need to take action against Russia and Iran for what they're doing in Syria. So we need to take a pretty strong response for another use of chemical weapons.
The UN Security Council will hold an emergency meeting today. Russia's foreign ministry calls the chemical attack a hoax. Matt Rascone, 7 News, Today New England.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg under fire. He will meet with U.S. lawmakers today before testifying in front of Congress Tuesday on the site's privacy scandal. Now, the social media giant says it will start notifying roughly 87 million Facebook users about how their information was shared with Cambridge Analytica. Facebook will also post a link at the top of users' news feeds that will tell them which apps are connected to their accounts and what those apps are permitted to see. The person who uncovered this scandal say more people's information may have been compromised.
Do you think that's still possible, that number is much higher?
I think that it could be higher. Absolutely.
And a statement last week, Cambridge Analytica says it had data for only 30 million Facebook users. We know that number has since gone up. And 7's Dan Housley will be there when Zuckerberg testifies. Look for his live reports from Washington, D.C. this week, only on the news station.
Well, happening today, students at Mount Ida College are hoping to get answers after the announcement that the college will close. Students meeting with the chancellor of UMass Dartmouth to review their options. 7's John Coco has more on that meeting.
As you expect, parents and students have questions. They had them this weekend when they met with Mount Ida officials. They'll likely have more today when they meet with UMass Dartmouth officials. After parents and students learned class would be dismissed for good at Mount Ida College, there was anger.
This is a really big problem.
and frustration.
It's pretty unbelievable to get a text message from your daughter saying that their college has been acquired.
Hundreds were looking for answers Saturday at a Mount Ida meeting with school officials. UMass Amherst will acquire the struggling college campus under a deal finalized Friday.
That's one of the reasons why I came here, to enjoy a private education, and now it's been taken away.
Current seniors will graduate from Mount Ida. All others will be able to attend UMass Dartmouth. Today will be a chance for students to meet with the school and ask questions about their options. Some worry, while this path may work for a few, it may not work for all students, like those in the veterinary program.
I love this program, and it honestly made me seriously upset to know that all of my professors have been fired.
And where's the concern for the students?
In a statement, the Mount Ida Board of Trustees said in part, "We relentlessly considered many solutions and ultimately executed that one which would provide our students with a secure academic future. We remain committed to our mission of putting students' interests first. We're confident that this agreement will best serve our students and their future academic pursuits."
They make it seem that way, but that's not the reality.
Mount Ida students will be able to meet with UMass Dartmouth staff, faculty, students, and athletic staff. In Newton, John Coco, 7 News, Today in New England.
An accused wrong-way driver expected in court today. Police say that the driver went the wrong way down Route 3 in Chelmsford. And before officers managed to stop him using stop sticks in Burlington, that driver is now facing a list of charges, including driving the wrong way, an OUI for alcohol, and resisting arrest.
The Bruins start their quest for the Cup now, their season coming to an end as they get set to face the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round of the playoffs. The Bruins losing to the Florida Panthers 4-2 in their final regular season game of the year. They finished with the second most points in the Eastern Conference, though. The Bruins and the Maple Leafs will start their first round series on Thursday night at 7 o'clock right here in the city at TD Garden, followed by Game 2 on Saturday before the series shifts to Toronto next Monday. If necessary, Game 7 would be back at the Garden.
I think it'll be a good matchup, a lot of excitement.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see what happens. All right, there's much more to get to on Today in New England, including a local lacrosse player reaching a major milestone, capping off a comeback 2 years in the making.
Dangerous drive, several injured after a bus carrying high school students slams into an overpass in New York.
And here at home, a driver going before a judge why he's facing charges after crashing his SUV into a Lawrence 7-Eleven. Stay with us. You're watching the news station.
Now, 7 weather with meteorologist Ren Claire.
Good morning. It is another cold start to the work week here. We're chilly today and tomorrow, but we are talking about seasonal temperatures by the middle of this work week. So we have relief in sight. Here's a look at morning lows. We dip down to 30 in Boston, 23 in Worcester, and our average lows are in the upper 30s. So it goes without saying, we're definitely talking about a cooler forecast here today. Temperatures are not going to make it to our average highs, which are now at 53, but we will see that by Wednesday. Sunrise was at 6:13 this morning, sunset at 7:19 for us here this evening. In terms of the cool air, this is a very cold air mass, and we're not the only ones that are dealing with the brunt of things. Buffalo, Green Bay, Chicago, the Twin Cities, all very cool. Kansas City and Cincinnati also in the low 30s. So it's a cold start for many of us. It's feeling like 19 in Worcester, feeling like 12 in Worcester and 19 in Boston. So really cold start to the day, especially for April. This feels like we're kind of in the thick of January, so you need the winter layers. The kids need the jacket, the gloves, the hat at the bus stop. As we head into the afternoon, though, it's pretty comfortable. High pressure continues to build into the region. Winds will lighten into the afternoon, and we'll see plenty of sunshine as well throughout the day. Your travel forecast looking cool throughout the Great Lakes. Chicago topping off at 40 here, much more mild as you head farther across the West Coast, even mid-80s in Las Vegas, 80 in Los Angeles. We're not talking about that, though. We're going to stay cool, about 10 degrees below average. But as we head into the end of this week, some of us could be making a run for 70. So again, hope is in sight for us, and I'll have more on that in just a second. Into tonight, we'll start to see cloud cover thicken up with temperatures in the low 30s in Boston tomorrow morning and some upper 20s as you head farther west of 495. We do have the chance for snow and rain showers tomorrow, and it's not going to amount to much, but just don't be caught off guard when you see some of those flakes, even though we're talking about a warm-up midweek. So tomorrow a storm system tracks to our south, and it does come close enough where we're going to see some of that moisture, some snow showers, some rain showers into the afternoon, and see more rain showers into the evening commute. Then that tapers for us tomorrow night. So in terms of highs, we're back into the 50s for Wednesday, close to 60 on Thursday with rain into the afternoon and evening. And then, yep, by Saturday, some of us hitting 70 degrees farther inland.
Ren, thank you. Also this morning, a lacrosse player at UMass Lowell getting back in the game with a major play, scoring a goal to cap off her incredible comeback. Noelle Lambert lost her leg in an accident 2 years ago.
But this weekend, the redshirt junior made a remarkable return to the field, touching off an emotional celebration. You're looking at the shot that stole the show as the women's lacrosse team at UMass Lowell took on Hartford.
That was a special moment. I broke down in tears, so really special.
It's a major milestone in what's been a long journey back to the field for redshirt junior Noelle Lambert.
I can't even remember how I scored. I need to look back on it.
In 2016, Noelle lost her leg in a moped accident. Saturday's match marked her first chance to get in the game with her new prosthetic. She was still pretty surprised when she was thrown in, but she answered the call in a big way.
Everyone came up to me and I didn't even hear her say, Noelle, go in. I was like, what? What are we talking about?
She turns heads with everything she does, and she turned an opportunity into a remarkable one, and we're really, really happy.
But Noelle says this is only the beginning.
I know I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, and I got to keep putting in that work.
Maybe not as close as she wants to be, still obviously well on her way. Noelle is the cousin of our very own meteorologist, Chris Lambert. She says she wants to thank her family, coaches, and teammates for helping her to get back out onto the field. And I know she also said that there was really no question for her that she would get back out onto the field, even right after all this happened.
She's very determined and has a bright future ahead for sure.
Definitely.
All right, coming up on Today in New England, rideshare rejection. Why an airline pilot claims that his driver left him grounded in a random parking lot.
And a Massachusetts state trooper is recovering after a driver crashed right into his cruiser. We'll be right back.
An explosive crash caught on camera in Texas. Firefighters say that the driver lost control of his car, slammed into a home, and hit a gas line on Saturday. You see the explosion right there at the top of your screen. Police say that they pulled a couple and their son from the home. Right now, one person is in critical condition. The driver was arrested for not having a valid driver's license. At noon this morning, dozens of people are recovering after the charter bus they were on hit a bridge in New York. The bus was carrying teenagers and chaperones returning from a spring break trip. 6 people were seriously hurt. You can see right there that the top of that bus completely mangled. Police say that the driver is being evaluated.
An airline pilot rushing to make his flight instead suffers a rideshare rejection. He claims his rideshare driver dumped him in a random parking lot once he found out how little money he would make from that drive. Chris Anderson is back now to explain. Chris.
You can imagine this pilot's surprise. It was a $6 snub. Apparently, this airline pilot in California called the Lyft because he was late for his flight. Says the driver kicked him out of the vehicle when he found out he would only make about $6 for the ride. The passenger made sure to record that encounter.
Dude, I used the app to get a driver. You came and picked me up. And now you're just dropping me off in a parking lot? Yes.
Caught on cell phone video, Lyft customer Daryl started recording when he was getting the boot from his driver during an early morning trip to the airport in California. Daryl is a pilot for a major U.S. airline. He had to catch a flight and was in a hurry, but says his driver quickly decided to dump him in a parking lot because the driver was saying he couldn't make enough money for the trip. Daryl was stunned.
I've done nothing wrong, and you're kicking me out of the car?
I have the right to refuse service.
Daryl says shortly after the trip started, the driver realized the destination and became frustrated. He started speeding, blowing through stop signs, and complaining he would only make $6 from the entire trip. So he cut it short.
They can't turn down a ride. If they want to go to Bakersfield, they're taking you to Bakersfield. They have to own up to it, unless, of course, there's bad, inappropriate behavior on my half, which there was nothing like that.
Daryl reached out to Lyft and was told they would make sure he would never be paired again with that same driver.
I thought, you got to be kidding me. He still works for Lyft?
Are you sure you want to do this?
I'm sorry, man, but I can't make $6 an hour.
Okay. I'm glad I recorded every bit of this.
Pretty interesting. Daryl says he was forced to order another lift, and he arrived at the airport 15 minutes late. Amaka Jen, back over to you.
Chris, thank you. And still ahead here on the news station, the Red Sox just keep on rolling, running their winning streak to 8 with the Yankees coming to town.
And one man seriously injured, buildings left dented and damaged after a pickup truck goes out of control at a flea market in Raynham. We'll be right back. All right, the Red Sox staying red hot, continuing their recent roll, putting together a string of 6 straight hits, all with 2 outs and a huge comeback win over the Rays. The team off to a great start this season, too, getting their 8th straight win after a loss on opening day. This is the first time in history that the team has ever started a season with an 8-1 record. They've got the night off tonight before the Yankees come to Fenway for a series that starts tomorrow night.
And the Masters tournament coming to a close, and Patrick Reed took home the green jacket. It was tied all the way to the end on Sunday, but Reed sealed the deal on the final hole to win the Masters by 1 stroke. This is his first major victory. And you hear the cheers there. Charlie Hoffman didn't win the green jacket, but he provided quite a highlight in Sunday's final round. He had a hole-in-one on the 16th. It's the 29th hole-in-one in Masters history. Hoffman finished the tournament tied for 12th. So even though he didn't win or even come in the top 10,
yeah,
it's pretty neat to see that.
It's got to be the next best thing to winning, being like, I scored a hole-in-one. Not bad. All right, at 8:27, a lot to get to in the next half hour here on Today in New England, including Running to Remember. Team Collier is strong in their final week of fundraising now as they prepare for this year's Boston Marathon.
And a look at a midweek warm-up as we head into this Wednesday. Details ahead.
And a Lynn woman set to face a judge later today, accused in an alarming attack on a man in Nahant. Stay with us. You're watching the news station.